Today, I'm going to tell you the story of my first panic attack, which happened during a music performance as part of my jazz degree back in 2021. So, an absolutely great time to have your first panic attack, yeah? And a big reason as to why I want to share this story is because I want to normalize the idea of having panic attacks. I want to normalize the idea of opening up about your struggles, particularly as a musician, because there's this idea that you have to be perfect as a musician, that you can't show any emotion. You always have to practice and turn up no matter what. Doesn't matter if you're missing your leg or you're sick or the world has exploded, the music comes first. And when you do break down, you have panic attacks or you show any form of performance anxiety, then you're considered weak. You're a failure. You're not cut out to be a musician. Those were all the emotions that I felt when I had my first panic attack, and it caused me to question all my decisions and whether or not I should continue playing music. Before I go on, I want to talk to you and tell you about my new newsletter. It's not that new actually, I've been doing it for a year, but this is the first time I'm going to tell you on video form. It's called The Mental Musician, and I go deeper and more vulnerable and I'm more raw in these newsletters. I talk about my panic attacks, my experience with depression and anxiety throughout my music career. And by opening up and talking about it, I hope that every one of you, all other artists and musicians, don't feel alone because these are real struggles that we all go through. And the more we talk about it, the more normal it is. And perhaps you won't be having panic attacks and burnout. You'll be able to get up on stage and just play and enjoy the music. So, as I mentioned at the start of the video, this panic attack happened during a music exam. And the thing about music is that you have to turn up no matter what. That's the expectation, especially when you're trying to be a professional musician. You can't let anything else in your life get in the way. So when I had this panic attack, I felt so much shame, so much guilt. I felt like I let down myself. I thought I let down my jazz teacher. And I really started to question myself as to whether or not I should be a musician. Should I just am I strong enough? Am I weak or not resilient? And look, I'll talk you through what happened exactly because there's also this perception that when you have a panic attack, you crawl up in a ball, you just cry uncontrollably. And I have had panic attacks like that, but most of the time it's fairly quiet, innocuous, and nothing really triggers it. So, leading up to the exam, I'd been going through this 6 month period of where my mental health and physical health was really, really going down a quick downhill slide. And I knew something was wrong. I was working as much as I can, practicing, teaching. I was averaging maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. I wasn't eating a lot. I was exercising. So, because I was exercising so much, but not eating at all, my body was not recovering. I lost 7 to 8 kilos due to stress. Of course, with COVID, there was that anxiety and stress as to whether or not your job could be taken away from you. In Australia, we say, I really thought shit was going to hit the fan. And when it came to this music exam, shit really did hit the fan. So on my way to the music hall, I I noticed that something was not right on the train ride there. My hands started shaking like this. I started struggling to breathe. And for the first time, I was having heart palpitations. I knew I was going to have a panic attack. I'd read enough to know what the symptoms were. It was a 15-minute walk from the station to the university. The entire time, I was just hoping I wouldn't collapse on the floor and break down crying. When I got to the music hall, I kept telling myself, just get through this. Just get through it. Just get through. I go into the music exam room. I'm sweating bullets. I'm sweating like a corn dog. It was about 10 degrees outside, but I was sweating like it was 55 degrees. I sit down, I set up my guitar, and I could see my jazz teacher and the head of jazz in front of me. And I knew that I was going to fuck this up. Uh, so I'm waiting for them to write their notes. And then my jazz teacher says, all right, Brian, you can do this. We've done this so many times. It's a simple exam. All right, let's start off with a major scale. So I get my pick. get my guitar, and I fuck up the first note. After that, my jazz teacher, he kind of looks at me with a bit of disappointment and says, "Come on, Brian, we just had a lesson yesterday. You know this stuff inside out. It's a major scale. It's the most basic scale in all music, not just jazz. Come on." So I look down, take another breath, try to control my heart rate, and I try again. I get through the first couple of notes, and by the fourth or fifth, I'm gone. I dropped my pick that time, and I almost dropped my guitar. As this is happening, I'm trying so hard to keep the panic attack in. I'm breathing heavily. The good thing is, or at least fortunately, but I was trying so hard to not break down in front of them. To them, they had no idea what was going on because I just had a straight face. And but I knew I had to say something, so I said, "I don't think I don't think I'm doing that well. Something's not right." So I see that my jazz teacher and the head of jazz, they're quite frustrated, but in the end, they say, "All right, Brian, just go home, get some rest, do a bit more practice, and come back next week." Fortunately, next week didn't come because that's when Sydney went into its second hard lockdown, and yeah, it didn't come back for another 3 months. I was stuck in my apartment for 3 months. On the way home, I asked myself, how the heck did I stuff that up? And as I was walking out, I was trying so hard not to cry. I just wanted to go home. It was about an hour trip to get home. So I kept telling myself, just get through, just get through, just get through. By the time I got to the train and sat down, that's when I lost it. I didn't start screaming and throwing tantrums, but I pulled up my coat, popped the collar, and just cried. You know, I really did break down when I got back home. I sat on the couch with my head in my hands, and I think for the next hour or so, I didn't leave my spot. I was a wreck, really, and that's when I crawled up into a ball and turned off all the lights and listened to some sad music. No, I didn't listen to sad music. After that first panic attack, when I settled down and started reflecting, I realized that the panic attack didn't really come out of nowhere. I knew that I'd been pushing myself to the absolute limits. And even though the last 6 months was the tipping point, I'd been struggling with depression and anxiety for the best part of 5 years. So this was a 5 year journey to breaking down where I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, I wasn't spending a great deal of time with my family and friends. I just had this one singular thought of I need to practice and become the best musician I could be. I cannot be anything else but perfect. And in doing so, the thing that I love more than anything, at least professionally, it became the reason as to why I broke down. And that was a really, really humbling thought. It really broke down the image and the stoic reputation that I try to build myself. And I realized then that I needed to make some changes. And for the first time in my adult life, at least, I knew I had to take care of myself, and music needed to take a step back. It was no longer the most important thing in my life. Since 2021, I've had a few more panic attacks. I think I've had 4 or 5 more, some even leading to full bodied seizures. I had 2 seizures at the end of 2024. But when I look back at the first one, I do ask myself, why was I so ashamed? Why did I feel so guilty and embarrassed for having a panic attack? Even though it did happen in front of my teachers, like, why? Because when you push yourself so much, when you don't take care of yourself, when you just run and run and run and run, eventually your body's going to take matters into its own hands and say, well, if you're not going to stop, I'm going to do it for you. I I know a lot of musicians personally. We have conversations where they tell me that before some of their performances, they've vomited or they've passed out during the performance, or they're so traumatized by the performance, they don't even want to touch their instrument for a week. They have to recover for a whole week. This is such a regular occurrence in the music world. I wish it wasn't, but it's such a normal thing. So many musicians go through it, and yet we don't hear about it anywhere near as we should. That's the reason why I'm sharing and telling you this story today, because I want to make it normal. I want to hear more musicians talk about their struggles. Not every musician struggles, but the ones who do need to have a space where they can open up without being judged, without feeling guilty within themselves and having their teachers, mentors, or other musicians vilify them for a very, very normal reaction to when you never ever take care of yourself. So, as I mentioned, I've had plenty of panic attacks ever since the first one. I still get panic attacks today, and I certainly will continue to have some. But now when I have one, I don't try to stop it. I don't try to hold it in. I let it happen. And it sucks. It really feels like your head is caving in. It feels like a heart attack. It feels like you're never going to breathe again. But each time I have one, I know that if I can just if I can just get through it, I'll be okay. Because as obvious as it is, the panic attack does end. And when it ends, it's time to have a rest. It's time to have a glass of water, get some sleep, get some exercise, spend time with friends, and know that if you take care of yourself, you can come back better, clearer, and maybe even a bit happier. No amount of performances, no amount of songwriting, composing, or practicing is worth sacrificing your mental health. If you are at your best, if you have a clear mind, if you're re energized, healthy, then the performances will be fun. You won't be thinking about, oh, I hope I don't stuff this up. I hope I play it perfectly. I hope I don't fail myself. And I hope I don't disappoint all my teachers. You'll go into the performance thinking, you know what? I'm going to have fun today. And I've enjoyed practicing. And everyone here is here to have a good time. This is entertainment after all. And you know, if I do stuff up, no one's really going to notice. And there's going to be another performance tomorrow. So I hope me sharing my story with you today has helped you a little bit, helped you realize that these panic attacks are normal. And if you do have one, yeah, it's going to suck, but you'll get through it. And afterwards, you got to take care of yourself. Start with getting some rest, get some sleep, put your instrument down. If you've been playing for a long, long time, those skills are not going to disappear overnight. They're not going to disappear after a couple months. They're always going to be with you. But the one thing that may not be with you forever is your health. There is a limit to that. And if you push yourself way too hard, then one day you may break and never come back. So if you can find a way to take care of yourself, even if it's just a little bit, then you give yourself a chance to come back and come back a little bit clearer, a little bit calmer, and a little bit happier. So, thanks for listening today, guys. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And of course, as I said earlier in the video, in my newsletter, The Mental Musician, I go even deeper, even raw. I have audio recordings of all of these videos so you can save and download it, listen to my dulcet tones. In the meantime, please take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.